Ago. Ago. Akesefo ebusia wawo shama apo. Homa yemfre ye. Ago. Ago. Enter ebusia wa shama. Homa yemfre ye. Ago. Ago. Methodist asor Ghana. Na Methodist funyi nara. Wom yemfre ye. Ago. Ago. Mfantsipim School. Na Mfantsipim Old Boys Association. MOBA. Wom yemfre ye. Ebusia. Humtse nkomoi wasupim. 100 years ago, in the year 1924, Nana Prempeh the First, King of Asante, was returned from exile in Seychelles to Kumasi, Ghana. 5 days after Nana Prempeh the First return, God rewarded Pastor and Mrs. J.K. Garbrah of blessed memory with their 6th child on November 16th, 1924. In the year 2024, November 16th, we celebrate the 100th birthday of this illustrious child. Very Reverend Professor Benjmin Kwesi Worabae Garbrah.
My full name is Very Reverend Professor Benjmin Worabae Garbrah. At the time that I was born, my parents were living at Kumasi, where my father had established a school of the SDA church. Both parents, my father and my mother, came from Shama. When Prempeh arrived, I was born the following Sunday. At that time, they were staying at the Benshia Palace, near the Benshia Palace. And they were in a Ashanti type of compound house with 2 European missionaries in that compound house. So when I was born, in the morning of that Sunday, in the evening, the 2 missionaries naturally visited my parents to see the newborn baby. So when they came, and I was in a court, and they saw me, each one look at the other askance, because they could not believe what they were seeing. As far as they were concerned, the baby was a baby. It was a European baby because of the color of the skin and so on. So each one was looking at the other askance and so on. My father saw this, and then he told her that baby is my son, a typical African baby. And babies in Africa, the Africans, they are born with light color and also with hair on the head. That's why you see what you have seen. The family of my father at Shama was Ekisi. Ekisi, Ebusia, and my mother came from Benjmin. The family was Incha, Intwa. At the time that I was born, the Garbrah family had 5 children. At the time I was born, how many of them had died? 4 had died before I was born. So my mother was losing children when they were born, and so it was very uncomfortable to the family. Later on, 2 were born also after me. They also they died when they were babies. At that time, my father was carrying out a very effective evangelism program which he established. And as a result of that, when the Kumasi chief, Prempe the First, observed the progress which had come to Kumasi as a result of the school, he approached the missionaries and asked them to transfer the headquarters of the etched from Aguna to Kumasi. By that time, there were three boys in the house, in the family. 2 of them were my siblings, and one of them was the nephew of my father. What he did was that he moved from one village to another, and when he moved with the whole family, and so that is what happened. We were moving from one village or town to another, and so on. As a result of this, initially it was difficult for us to have a formal education, the first stage of education and so on. But because my father was a teacher, he established a home school. In the morning, after the chores had been completed, and we had eaten, and so he had a table, a long table, and the 3 boys sat on benches around the table, and he taught us all the subjects that was learned at the primary school, and the 3 of us, he had a timetable which was the same as the one that was being used in the formal schools and so on. So it was not until about I think it was 34 that we came to Aguna, and it was there that I started the first formal education. So I was tested for them to decide where to place me. So when they tested me, I was admitted as class 3. Class 3 was the highest school primary school from class 3. Then you go to standard 4. That is a senior school. So I started the junior school at Aguna, and because of the home school that my father had given us, I was admitted instead of going to class 1 or class 2 or what like that. I was admitted at the standard. Yeah. I was admitted at standard 3. So that's how I started the primary school education. Eventually, because of transfers, all sorts of things, so we were moving from one town to another, and so, and finally, I finished the elementary school, that is Sound 7, at Takwa. Now, when I was in school, I never thought that I would go to a secondary school. And what I wanted to do was to become a train guard. And as a small boy, I liked the work that the train guard was doing. And but somehow I didn't, after Sound 7, I didn't become a train guard. And it was all by God's doing. What happened was that, you see, in those days, Sound 7 examination was taken for the boys of the particular missionary school. When the school examination was conducted by their school manager. So when I was in Sound 7, the school manager of the Anglican Education Service came to test us. He wrote the questions on the blackboard, and then we answered. And then he asked us to give him the addresses of our parents. It was later that I got to know that that examination was conducted to find a boy in an Anglican school who could be sent to Achimote School at that time to be trained as a teacher. But when the examination was conducted, apparently I did very, very well, very well. And in those days, the classes were formed in accordance with the performance of the boys. The best boys were admitted in Form A of this. So I was Form 2A, Form 2A, and I stayed in Form 2A for all the period that's there.
I am Moses Kwesi Baden Jr., the 5th Ebusiapane of Mfantsipim Old Boys Association. Today, we celebrate an illustrious son of MOBA, Reverend Benjmin Kwesi Worabae Garbrah. Professor Garbrah entered the Mfantsipim School in 1942 and completed in 1946. He is one of the distinguished old boys that have hit the record age of 100 years. And the Mfantsipim Old Boys Association would like to congratulate this illustrious son of MOBA, who has done so much, not just for Mfantsipim, but for Ghana.
He was made the prefect of Freeman House the house, not class prefect, prefect of local Freeman House. I was a lockout. I was not a prefect anyway, but we were so free. I was a little bit popular and known by them that I played football. I played football first term. I played cricket, and I did a 440, 100 by 440 race. So I became popular with everybody.
The boys in their final year were counseled by the headmaster because some of them didn't know what next and so on. So the headmaster did this. Yeah, the headmaster did this. So when I went to him, then he said, "Now, Garbrah, next year we are sending you to Wesley College. When you go and the call comes, obey it." We had never discussed Wesley College, nor had we discussed my willingness to enter the ministry. He just gives me that order, more or less, that so I should go and take the entrance examination for Wesley College, which I did.
It's quiet, very quiet. It's very quiet, and it's only known to his house, Freeman House. It doesn't go in it. You see, it was very active. Slowly, like, he started his ministry, I think, when he was in school. Very quiet.
When Nkrumah organized, what did they, countrywide boycott or something, that kind of thing. Apparently, the students of Mfantsipim led the demonstrations of the schools in Cape Coast. And Smith could not believe the fact that Mfantsipim boys, they rather convinced the boys in other schools to demonstrate. So he collapsed.
Really?
And didn't survive. So my colleagues said that we also should demonstrate. I said, no, this is a political thing that is going on. Let them do their politics. What we could do is to collect some money and give it to them, the big six who had been arrested. So, but to go beyond that, I thought was, we are training of teachers. It is not a secondary school where you go, you pass, but now after that, then you become a teacher of people's children, and you have to teach them to behave properly and so on. So eventually we were the only teaching or secondary institution which didn't take part in the yeah. So when Sri died, the students collected. I don't know how much we was collected, but I took that money, and when I entered Cape Coast, I gave the money to Nkrumah. Nkrumah felt that after independence, there were so many factories established in the Gold Coast, and that if we were not careful, the safety, health, and welfare of the workers would be compromised. So we needed to have a factory inspector. And somebody had advised that the factory inspector must be a physicist. And I was the only physicist in the country. The only physicist in the faculty. So I was more or less ordered to go, to come to. The man came. He came. The one who was responsible for employment in the university, sorry, in the public service, was a very big man in those days. Unfortunately, he died at a plane crash sometime later. So he came from Accra to me with a letter that I should report at the Ministry of Labor, which I did. And so when I went there, then they sent me to the UK to study factory inspection. And after that, before then, they had brought a factory inspector in UK to come and start the thing somehow. Now that advice was wrong because even the man from UK who came was a mathematician. He wasn't a physicist. You could do any subject and then factory inspection. So that's what happened. So they sent me to UK, and they took me around almost the whole country on factory inspection. And they were interested when we went on a visit to a factory. Everybody became interested. There is a black man. They gave they decided that everybody who had done physics at that time should be trained as a nuclear physics, so that they could work on the factors. So obviously, being the first physicist, I had to lead the team that went to Moscow.
Reverend Professor Benjmin Kwesi Worabae Garbrah has contributed to Ghana in the field of nuclear physics, as well as becoming a very reverend minister of the Methodist Church.
Osofo Garbrah trained me when I joined the commission in 1974. He mentored me on 3 fronts. The first is career mentoring, and the second is biblical mentoring, and the third, administrative mentoring. And through his instrumentality, I also became chief executive of the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission. So let's give praise to God for what he has done through Osofo Garbrah.
The school I attended, apart from the first, the schools in the SDA church, I attended up to about standard about standard 4 or standard 5. After that, my association with the Christian religion was through the Methodists. At Samar, for example, our house was just opposite the Methodist Church. And when I went to Mfantsipim also, in those days, those who were not Methodists were allowed to attend the Catholics for them went to the Catholic Church and so on. But somehow there was no SDA church in Cape Coast. at that time. So I had to go to the Methodist church, to Wesley. So, and you are Wesley College, that's a Methodist institution. And when I went to to Legon, the University College of Legon, I attended the services on Sundays with them. So I had already become used to the Methodist way. I liked also the Methodist way of worship.
We give thanks to God for the life and ministry of Professor Benjmin Worabae Garbrah. I have known him for quite some time when he was director of social responsibility. At conference, the way he comes to present his report and all of that. And you could see that he was so passionate about the work that he was asked to do. And that brought the church's life and ministry to the people, to the fore. And as a church, that is one of our responsibilities. And as he was in charge, he brought us into that life. And as young ministers, we saw him as somebody who we could also emulate. And it continued for some time until I was transferred here to Calvary. And when I came, he was a supernumerary. So I continued to tap from his rich experience. And the many times that he wrote in the Sentinel or in the Methodist Times, the stories he would tell, very down to earth, and you could use it as examples in your preaching and all of that. And he has continued that till this time. And we see him as a role model. We see him as a father. We see him as somebody we can also look up and see God's handiwork and the testimony that God is in control. Because I was here when he lost the wife, and since then you could see that he's still active in the ministry of the Lord. And I give praise and thanks to God for his life and for his ministry.
I could have been commissioned earlier. What happened was that one day, so somehow, I felt that I should enter the ministry. So on a certain Saturday, I went to the Methodist church near the circle to see the minister there. And that was the church I was attending from time to time. When I went to see him and told him what I wanted to do, you had to be recommended by the superintendent minister of the. When I finished talking to him, he said, "Oh, why? Why did you want to be a minister? It isn't everybody who should be a minister. You are in charge of the church at Kwabotwe. You also go to synod. Is that not enough for you?" Oh, I see. So I was so disappointed and decided that I would remove the idea of entering the ministry completely. When the one who discouraged me had left, and the new minister who came, there was Osenyado, who was an old boy at Mfantsipim. He was my senior by 2 years or so, Osenyado. So one Saturday, I was going to him for something. So as soon as I knocked the door and I entered, then he got up and said, "No, Garbrah, the Dwen Hwe Kan. What is it? So, what is causing a delay in entering the ministry? I knew you were in Mfantsipim, and since I came here also, you have been so active in the church work here. It was then that I broke the news of the other one, his predecessor, discouraged me. So he stretched his hand and took a form and gave it to me. He said, you fill it and bring it to me on Monday. Bring it to me. Yeah. Then I presented the form, the applications. So it's the only job I've done where I have initiated the application myself. All the things I've done, I've been ordered to do this or something like this.
After 150 years, Professor Garbrah has been as old as Mfantsipim, shy of 50 years. It's a remarkable achievement. I hope that the life of Professor Garbrah is professional achievement, both in theology and nuclear physics, will inspire not just this generation of Mfantsipim boys, but other generations of Mfantsipim boys to look beyond the present into the future and to make sacrifices that will impact not just MOBA, but will continue to resound on the future of Ghana, as we've done for 150 years. Professor Garbrah, we thank you for your example. We pray that God blesses you, and we hope that we can follow in your footsteps.
Reverend Professor Garbrah led a successful campaign at Accra Synod when he was an auxiliary minister to have superannuation allowances raised by conference. As the superintendent minister of Dansoman, he led the circuit in several ways to operate, to open new societies. And this was by 1996 conference by the presentation of a shield to Dansoman as the most effective circuit in evangelism in the connection.
We have all admired his commitment to God, and then his commitment to the church, and then his commitment to his work as a scientist. So this is somebody who has paid his due to God, to the church, to his family, to our nation, and to the world. It is worth celebrating that one of the world's foremost nuclear scientists is a Ghanaian. I don't think this country has celebrated Dr. Garbrah enough. And I hope that at 100, the country, the leadership of the country, will be inspired to celebrate him for who he is and what he has done. But as a church, we are very, very thankful. I mean, he's been a pioneer in many ways. The oldest living matriculant of the first students who matriculated to the University of Ghana, also of Wesley College, and as I have said, also his work as a nuclear scientist. So we thank God for today, we thank God for his life, and pray that the rest of his years will be blessed, his heritage will be blessed, and that many generations will be inspired by his accomplishment.
At the time he formally retired from public service, he could have established consultancy or accepted offers from IAEA, at International Atomic Energy Agency, Commonwealth Secretariat, etc. He rather chose to be full-time minister.
I was shocked when I saw Professor Garbrah with his walking stick on voting day when I was elected as the 5th Episcopalian of MOBA, being held from his car to cast his vote. It is demonstrative of the passion that MOBA has for Mfantsipim School and our tradition. Out of the 50-year groups that voted, every single member of the MOBA Council, which is the highest body of MOBA, but two cast their vote. Professor Garbrah's year group was the oldest. I was very emotionally affected and very profoundly grateful for having gone to Mfantsipim School to see the dedication of Professor Garbrah to make time from his residence simply to cast a vote for the Busiapane of Mfantsipim School. On that day, I realized the great burden that the role of a Busiapane is, and the great responsibilities that it embodies, and the great passion and vision that the Busiapane of Mfantsipim is expected to exhibit. Professor Garbrah, you made a remarkable impact on my life for that single gesture of making time to vote. As we know, Mfantsipim elections are filled with passion and dedication of the old boys to contribute to not just the school, but to the MOBA fraternity, to keep the vision of his forebearers burning.
Nyame na wadom anka asifne muyi beyeden kra obrano yedimpa nanswadom nudini kada nyame na wadom yi ashemia besine nyame na wadom yi Ashemia besine. You never gave a promise that the journey would be easy. Your grace and mercy has brought me thus far. Your grace and mercy is all I need. Your grace and mercy has brought me thus far.
Good job, good job.
I have 9 children with my wife. 5 boys and 4 girls. One of the boys has passed away. The children have given me more than 15 grandchildren. And the grandchildren have also given me more than 5 great grandchildren, one of whom calls me grandfather great.
I am Abba Onsunyamiye Garbrah. Now, Mrs. Abba Asafoeje. I am the 8th out of 9 children. Growing up was interesting and fun, I would say. We grew up in Kwabotwe, in a 3-bedroom house. There was the girls' room and the boys' room, but we're all so close together. Now, what I remember about our father is that he was a great educator. He was very interested in our schooling. So you must go to school and you must perform. Can you imagine one time I was first, the next time I was second, I got into trouble. You must stay on top. He expected excellence from each and every one of us. So he instilled that in me. growing up. So I took my education seriously as, as I went through life.
My name is Grace Enacheba Garbrah, currently Mrs. Grace Anyomi, and I'm the last born. Yes, and what I can say about my father is that he's a family man. He loved family, and we used to live with a lot of my cousins and nephews. So I remember one time we were 19 in that house.
Yes.
About 19, and he put so much premium on family. The fondest memories that I have of him is the storytelling. It was a hobby for him, and we loved it as children.
And so, as a father, I remember fondly the stories he would tell us on Sunday afternoons, especially after church. Kweku Anansi stories. If I know anything about Kweku Anansi, it's because of what he told me. And I remember those. So it made it fun and interesting.
And he also had a special thing that he did for us. Anytime he eats, he will make sure that he will leave some in his plate. Because he knows that we are waiting to eat.
The last
Yes.
He rushed to go and get his plate.
Yes.
I took the words out of your mouth.
Don't worry. And just as my senior sister said, education was something that was very much on his heart, and he made sure that he educated all of us.
And he was always there. Dad was always home. You know, he was coming back. When he traveled for a little bit, you know, Dad was coming home. So he was not an absentee father at all. Very involved in our lives.
And also, he was a man who feared the Lord. Even though he didn't start as a preacher, along the line, he fell in love with the Lord and he became a minister. And he served with his whole heart as a man of God. And I really appreciate that grace that came upon his life, because he was able to use that information to bring us all up in the fear of the Lord. He's a great man. He's accomplished so much. And we are really thankful to God that he gave us such a father. And I know that even though he's 100 today, I'm trusting God that he will even go 10 more years.
Amen. So I'm grateful that I am his daughter today, and he's celebrating 100 years. Deep respect for that. And I love him.
My name is Nanama. Yes.
Nanama, who's your...
My parents.
Yes.
I'm getting annoyed.
So you start. Okay. Hi, my name is Nanajwa, and my mother is Elaine. Yes. Hey. Okay. And Elaine is the granddaughter of Grandpa Benjamin.
Hi, I'm Na, and I'm Alice's daughter. The granddaughter of Grandpa here.
My name is Anna Paula. My grandmother is called Abena. She's the great granddaughter of Grandpa Benjamin.
Hey, good girl.
Yummy.
Okay, she's the last one.
So we just want to say that we love and appreciate him, and we are so happy that he's been a good role model. All the things he's done over the years, he has shown us what it is to be a good leader and a good citizen in general. So we are grateful to be part of this family.
All I know is that God has permitted me to live 100 years. And I thank him for this. And I do hope that my children and their children and great-grandchildren and so on would probably live longer than my age. And I also hope that they will all live as one family and be responsible for one another.
Mfantsipim also say, hold on that you have. Hold on and protect it. That's one of our motto. And I think he has held on and protected himself. That's why he's reached that age.
There are two things that a young minister should watch. One is money of the church. By our rules, you should not handle money of the church. We have a society steward or circuit steward, but you it is your responsibility to supervise. Then the other thing is women. Somehow Ghanaian women like ministers. But once you are a minister, I don't know what happens. But the women would tempt you. And the other thing is that pray. You have to be praying all the time, praying. And make sure that make sure that you do not fall into any disgraceful act, because this is the ministry of God himself.
Professor Benjmin Kwesi Worabae Garbrah, we wish you a remarkable 100th birthday. MOBA Mau Awodapa Dwen Hwe Kan.
Happy birthday, Grandpa Benjamin.
Dwen Hwe Kan.